Veteran law enforcement official Brian Adams has beat out his Democratic opponent, Dr. Debbie Chatman-Bryant, for the State Senate District 44 seat. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I speak exclusively with him one-on-one. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. State Senator-elect Brian Adams, welcome back to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you for having me, Quintin. I'm very excited, and you can't imagine how being the first time like this, getting into it, and it's just I'm ecstatic.
How do you look at this new position from a law enforcement standpoint, since you are a veteran law enforcement official?
I'm going to look at it with open eyes. I want to make sure that we are able to bring some good bills if we're able to, or work with our local law enforcement. I want to make sure we got good training and more training if possible. Bring that to them as well. I'd like to see if there's a way of getting more officers through our training. If they're out there and they want to serve the public and be police officers, let's see if there's a way of getting these officers trained faster and back out there in the streets so we can have not so many openings within our law enforcement across the state.
As a matter of fact, you said this on your Facebook page just this morning, quote, "As your next state senator, you have trusted me to represent District 44, and I'm deeply honored. The next stop in Columbia, where I will vow to maintain fiscal responsibility, defend our police, rebuild infrastructure, and support our teachers." Let me ask you this, Mr. Bryan. What's your fiscal goal for District 44?
Well, one of the things I'd love to do, and I think it's very possible, is I'd love to start working with your county elected officials and the city elected officials and start bringing some of that tax money that's collected in the counties and send it back to the counties. Take away some of that level of bureaucracy that goes through Columbia. Let's send it back to the counties. They can do things a lot faster and more efficient than what we can up there in Columbia. They're on the ground running basically, and they know what's needed, hearing the phone calls and hearing the local people, and they can react to it a lot faster than the state can. So I think that would help out a lot.
And what is your current relationship with these particular county officials?
Well, just by chance, I actually got a good relationship with a lot of them already. I've gone to school with a couple of them. I know them from the area. We're involved in a lot of different programs, whether it's through the local GOP system or the community area, just being with them and at other events, so to speak. So I've gotten to know a lot of them.
And how much money would you want to bring back to District 44?
I think it would all depend on what taxes are collected, the percentage. So that would be an area I'd have to talk to other legislators and see if there's something feasible for us to work out to get it back to the county, so they can get a percentage of it. And I would imagine all counties would be different, depending on what taxes that they're collecting in their county, and to get a percentage back to them.
And how much would it go to the actual police force?
Well, I think the police force, how we would have to help them out is by getting them quicker trained, getting them faster on the road to help out the agencies. So when the agencies if they have like 3 spots a year or 4 spots a year to get to the academy, we got to broaden that some. We got to figure out a way to where if they need 10 spots or 15 spots, or some of the agencies in the area need more than 30 or 40 spots, are we able to do that to where we're not hurting our local agencies because they can't get those spots? So we have to see if there's a way we can expand our training so we get more officers through training and into these departments. That's one way. We also have to figure out a way to make sure after we get them into these departments, utilize our academy. We got a great academy and great instructors to where we can utilize them for advanced training, whether it's investigations, undercover work, traffic, all those different areas, and we can bring these officers into a more so if they're, for an example, if they're an investigator or something,
right,
we can give them advanced training in that and prioritize this training, making them a better investigator if that's a career path they want to take throughout law enforcement.
And how much would that tax cost the average taxpayer in 44?
Well, I don't think it would cost anything extra. The instructor's already there.
Okay.
Right now, our academy does not operate off tax funds. It operates as self-generated throughout the law enforcement every year. So we have to look at that and see. I think there's ways that we can work with them, but it wouldn't cost anything extra.
And let me ask you this too, Brian. How do you go beyond the budget myths in Columbia?
What do you mean?
How do you go beyond, looking at the budget and, looking at things to take out? What more do you want to do beyond that?
Well, to tell you the truth, Quintin, I'd have to get up there and look at that and see before and get more knowledge about that, because I think I'm about to learn a lot very rapidly. And without knowing a little bit more or getting some more knowledge about the budget, where it's spent, how we collect our budget, how we, what we save and stuff, I would hate to make a comment and then 6 months later, come back and say, man, you were wrong about that. And I'd have to say, you'd probably be right. So I would like to get more information on that for the future.
And you talk about the budget. What specific cuts, Brian, would you be willing to accept?
I would like to see something to be. I would like to see a way that the county or the state could work with the counties. I'm going to give you an example: the gas tax. We got the gas tax,
right,
and it would be nice to take some of that gas tax and put those back to the county, and they can prioritize the gas tax money that's coming to the state, send that back to the county so they can use it right away in their road projects. I think that would help out the county. One, it save a lot of money, so we're getting away from that extra level of bureaucracy in Columbia, and it would save a lot of money with different contracts and things. It would help out the county as well as help out the state. So I think that would help out.
And could you, by chance, when you get up there, I don't know if you could do this, but could you identify some areas where you see particular opportunities for fiscal responsibility from a bipartisan standpoint?
I think there would be. I think it all comes down to respect for one another and working through. I think you're going to come to the table and you're going to hear differences, and it's a matter of making sure it's a win-win for everybody and making sure the constituents are not being affected negatively, and making sure that their money, their tax dollars, are being spent wisely and not being wasted. So I think that would be an important thing, and I think you have to do that across the board. You have to talk to everybody. And I think the important thing is, before you start making large decisions, I think you have to get out and talk to your constituents and work with them and see exactly what they're wanting and what direction they would like to go in. And take that back to Columbia.
Yes, sir. And what exactly are you hearing from the people that you talk to in District 44?
Right now the big thing is safety. They want to make sure that they're safe and making sure that their police departments are funded. And I have assured them that I will fight for the police department. Luckily, right now, I've not heard of anybody in the local district that is looking to defund police or reallocate money or anything like that. So that's a good thing. Our police departments, I do believe, in South Carolina, probably across the country, I do believe that they're 95% supported. I think the loud voice you hear is the few, and most of us out there support our police and want them there with us because we want to make sure there's somebody there for us when we call them and need help.
And will diversifying the police force help with that?
It broke up a little bit.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. And how do you hope that how do you hope to diversify that is the police force?
Well, I think the departments in their own, they have to make sure they're diverse. They have to make sure they're hiring the officers they need, the qualified officers, and make sure that they're going through the applicants and putting qualified officers out there in the street and making sure that what community policing is a great tool for police departments, and you can I guess define community policing in so many different ways. But the main thing about community policing is the officers are involved within their community. And that doesn't mean they're stopping out there and playing football with the kids every day or something. I'm not saying that they can't do that, but it's more about getting out there. When the officer goes down the road, he sees you out there, he's engaged with you. You get to know those officers. You get to know them on a personal level to where you see them all the time. You get more comfortable with them. And what that starts to do in reality is it builds a comfort level to where if you see something going on, you can tell the officer that you're comfortable with, hey, I've been noticing this going on in the area, or I've been seeing this going on in the area, and that builds up relationship, and that starts to tone down any of the smaller crimes that are going on in the area, and that really changes across the board at that point in time and helps out those communities.
And how long do you think that'll take from obviously a law enforcement standpoint?
Well, that can take a long time, but the whole part of it is we got to learn how to be patient, and we can't get tired of something because we're looking for results right away. And this is the best way of strategizing. If you cannot, it's almost like planting a tree, Quintin. You can't plant that tree and walk out the next day and hope that it's 60 foot tall and it casts a shadow over your whole yard. It takes time. So you got to start that implementation in departments, start working with the communities, and making sure that this program and this way of policing gets out there and starts affecting the community as fast as possible, and start building those relationships, and then that will start changing throughout the area.
And you also say rebuilding our infrastructure. Let me ask you this. How do you increase rural access with infrastructure?
Well, and I think that goes right back to working with the counties. You know, they plan. So if they got a community being developed, they got to plan the infrastructure and making sure it can handle the influx of traffic is coming. They got to plan for schools. They got to plan for shops. They got to plan for business. And then the best thing about that is if we can work with the county, whether that's involving helping them with the gas tax money coming down or helping them get more of their local government fund, then allow them to start planning a little bit better, and they can react a lot quicker to growth than per se of the state can.
And what current private and public partnerships would you be in favor of as far as expanding infrastructure?
Well, I'm going to go right back to the county and cities again.
Okay.
They got to listen to the constituents. You know, the state, I believe, is there to help them and hold them up, and when they need help, we're going to help them. I don't think the state should be involved directly with your counties and the cities. If they want a park or an apartment complex, I think they need to listen to the constituents. And then when it's time for them to need that help with the waterways or the roadways or the traffic lights and stuff like that, then call, by all means, give us a call and we'll help out wherever we need help. But once I think the state comes in and starts planning everything, then I think the bureaucracy level just goes up and it slows everything down and it costs more money. And I think we need to kind of step aside from that, allow these cities and counties to start planning and working hand in hand with their constituents. And I think you'll have a better government that way.
And with the current bureaucracy, what has slowed down certain projects in District 44? And how much does it cost the actual taxpayer?
It's costing a lot more than what it was to the county. And just about every road project you see is always slowed down by years, not months, because it goes on the list and has to go to Columbia, gets approved, and works its way back down again. And if we can take out that level going to Columbia and keep it local, then it's going to work a lot faster. And anytime you can work faster, it's cheaper. If I'm going to stretch out this road project, it's estimated today at a million. You know, in 4 years, that million just grew into probably 2 million. So we got to work faster, and it'll save us a lot more money.
And obviously, you'll be sworn into your office as a state senator in a few weeks. But what exactly will you do on day 2?
Oh boy, probably celebrate big time. I'll be very excited. And
this is right here next door.
That's right. I'll probably I gotta do orientation and stuff. So there's a lot I've got to learn. There's a real thick book. Rules and stuff. So I got to read that, and I'll probably fall asleep a lot while I'm reading it. So there's a lot of things I got to get into and get a lot of knowledge building I got to do. I'm gonna hit it head on like I would coming into law enforcement or any other first time job. You know, you go through the kind of policies and procedures. I want to learn it. I want to make as few mistakes as possible. I know I'm going to make some, but I want to make as few as possible and understand and learn from any mistakes I do make. So that's the main thing I got to do is get my knowledge built up.
And I know, obviously, you just talked about bureaucracy and you said, hey, listen, we need to work more with the county governments on a local level. Let me take you to Washington. Obviously, Nancy Mace is the presumptive nominee for the first congressional district. Tell me, how do you hope to work with Congresswoman-elect Nancy Mace?
I'm going to reach out. I've gotten to know Nancy. One, we are both Stratford High graduates.
Right.
We both come from the same area. Our families live in the same area. Our parents, like they do. So I'm looking forward to working with her and making sure that I'm able to get the resources. I think that will help out. It gives me a direct avenue to where the state can get resources, and I think that will also help out when the counties or cities need something. There's a direct path to somebody I can reach out to and help out with that as well.
State Senator-elect Brian Adams, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome back to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you, Quintin. Anytime.
Thank you, and congratulations again.